Next on News 3 this morning, Republicans trying to delay a government shutdown with a new bill on the House floor today.
Plus, it has been 25 years since race riots broke out in Los Angeles. We're going to look at how the LAPD is still reacting to what happened.
Because it was more than a friendship. We were family by choice.
A roommate and friend remembers Andrew Nesbitt a month after Madison's second homicide, how she's honoring her lost friend.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It's Friday, April 28th, and a rainy, cold one out there.
Addie's got all the layers on.
I broke out the winter jacket again.
You did?
I hate to do it, but I'd rather be comfortable than cold, so.
I'm not there yet, but if I have to, that's going to be
We don't have to,
really
we don't have to stand out on the patio. We get to sit in here.
That's true.
Yeah, I have lots of nice dresses that I'd like to wear for spring, but the weather just is not cooperating. So dressing a little bit more like winter this morning. Temperatures are down in the 30s. Skies are clearing as well. Here is a look at the current frost advisory that's in effect until 8 o'clock this morning. The view from the WIC-TV Skycam is pretty. Should be a beautiful sunrise this morning.
Is that the moon right there in the corner?
It may be.
Yeah, nice.
Otherwise, that is a really big star.
Yeah.
Someone should look into that. It's probably the moon. It's going to be a beautiful sunrise, though, but the clear skies mean chilly conditions. We're down to 35 in Madison, 32 in Mineral Point and Platteville, 34 in the Dells. Very chilly. Temperatures will drop likely another couple of degrees here in Madison before we start to climb today. It's going to be a little warmer than yesterday, but still some rain is expected to move in for the afternoon. Highs will be in the mid-50s today.
It's going to take a little while to get there, though.
Yeah, we had to be patient.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Addie.
You're welcome.
We begin this morning with some news, breaking news of an armed robbery in downtown Madison late last night. Madison police do have a suspect in custody in connection with this incident. It happened right by the Overture Center. The female victim told officers she was robbed at knife point, that the suspect took her purse. Officers subsequently responded to a separate 911 call of an unwanted man in a downtown establishment where officers located 36-year-old Ryan Murray. They allegedly found items belonging to the robbery victim on Murray. He's expected to make his first court appearance later on today. A 23-year-old homeless man is going to be arraigned in June for the killing of a Madison man on his birthday. This was an attack that happened a little more than a month ago, right off of the Capitol Square.
Madison police say Derek Anderson is the person who killed 46-year-old Andrew Nesbitt. Court records show Anderson followed Nesbitt home after he was done celebrating his birthday and stabbed him to death inside his downtown apartment. We're learning more this morning about Andrew Nesbitt. His roommate, Rachel Bauer, says he loved people and was really involved in Madison's LGBTQ and homeless community. Instead of focusing on the way he died, Rachel wants people to remember the way he lived.
He just had that energy about him, that passion for life that was just so infectious. People loved that about him.
Rachel, Nesbitt's longtime partner, and other family members are now setting up a trust in his name to help support the LGBTQ and homeless communities. Madison police, meanwhile, have not offered a motive behind that murder.
The man accused of killing a UW Stout International student is fighting those charges. Cullen Osborne pleaded not guilty to murder charges yesterday. Witnesses told officers that Osborne punched Hussein Al-Nadi outside of a bar in Menominee last year. The student from Saudi Arabia would later die from a traumatic brain injury. Osborne's lawyers, though, say those witnesses aren't credible. He's currently being held in jail on a $75,000 bond.
A Madison phone store is offering a $1,000 reward for information on a pair of burglaries this week. This is surveillance video from one of those burglaries on Wednesday night. It shows two women breaking into the Boost Mobile store on South Park Street just before 5 in the morning. The day before, a second store on Gammon Road was also broken into. The manager says its company will recover from those losses, but hopes the reward will help find the people responsible before they commit another crime.
Continuing coverage this morning as dozens of Wisconsin dairy farmers are back to work with a little bit less to worry about. For about a month now, 75 farmers have been frantically looking for a buyer to take their milk after their processor informed them they couldn't sell their milk to Canada any longer. Now, all but 3 of those 75 have found a new processor. 8 different processors, including the Dairy Farmers of America, agreed to take the farmers' milk on a 6-month contract.
Commend DFA and the other processors for stepping up and doing what they did to reassure Wisconsin stays as a dairy state.
While some farms will still sell their milk at a discount due to increased supply and less demand, they say these temporary contracts are enough to keep them in business. Q106 Farm Director Pam Jahnke has been following this in Washington this week. You can see her updates on Facebook and Twitter. New information this morning from the nation's capital, where the House is expected to vote on a one-week extension to actually keep the federal government open.
Action being taken on that front, but not when it comes to health care. House Speaker Paul Ryan says he's not sure he has the votes to pass the new plan to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. That new proposal gives states more power to opt out of some regulations, like protections for people with pre-existing conditions. Now, some moderates are unhappy with those changes. Democrats, meanwhile, say if Republicans move forward on that Obamacare repeal, they'd fight the government funding bill. A major conflict is possible on the Korean Peninsula. That's what President Trump told Reuters in an interview yesterday, adding, though, that he'd prefer a diplomatic solution to that problem. The president said American warships will remain in the area as long as North Korea continues its missile tests. Another is expected within the week. The U.S. and China have asked the country to stop its nuclear tests or face more economic sanctions.
New this morning, federal investigators are looking into a bomb threat made toward an American Airlines flight coming from Los Angeles. That plane had to make an emergency landing in Phoenix, and the 153 passengers and 6 crew members stayed on the tarmac at Sky Harbor Airport as authorities looked for evidence. Nobody was hurt in this incident, and American Airlines officials later said the threat was, quote, non-credible.
The state of Arkansas will investigate why an inmate spasmed 20 times on the gurney before lethal drugs took his life. Kenneth Williams was the 4th Arkansas inmate executed in the last week, as the state's supply of lethal drugs is set to expire at the end of the month. Williams was twice convicted of murder. He was sentenced to death after killing Cecil Boren following an escape from prison. Boren's widow lives just 2 miles from that prison.
He did a wrong. He was, by his jury of peers, gave him a death sentence. People have to be punished for things they've done.
Williams was also convicted in the death of Michael Greenwood, who was killed in a car crash while Williams fled from police. Greenwood's family worked in favor of Williams and paid for his family to visit him on death row so he could meet his granddaughter before being executed. Now, 3 more of Arkansas's death row inmates are fighting their sentences in court, arguing that the lethal injection drug isn't guaranteed to prevent a painful death.
It has been 25 years now since a jury acquitted 4 white Los Angeles police officers in the videotaped beating of Rodney King, who was a black driver that they had pulled over for speeding. That verdict set off days of violence in what is now known as South Los Angeles. At 32 years old, Tim Goldman videotaped some of the worst moments of April 29th, 1992, including the attack on a white truck driver named Reginald Denny and the torture of a construction worker named Fidel Lopez.
That was where the minister stood over him and prayed. I thought Fidel Lopez actually was dead until, he started moving.
More than 50 people were killed and 2,000 more hurt in 6 days of rioting and looting. It cost $1 billion in damage to Los Angeles. Now, the current LAPD police chief says he knew the department was the reason for those protests, and since then, the force has changed its hiring practices and now has a majority of minority officers on the force. More than 11,000 people in all were arrested during that riot.
The U.S. Humane Society is now looking into an animal abuse case out of Lake Delton, where a dog ate 6 nails wrapped in hot dogs. News 3 talked to the West Baraboo veterinarian who treated that terrier who ate those nails left outside an apartment complex in town. The vet says the dog was saved because her owners quickly realized something was wrong. He's now encouraging other dog owners to closely watch their own pets until the person responsible is caught.
Definitely keep a close eye on your dog. Use common sense if something doesn't seem right. Ask some questions or come into your vet and talk about it.
Lake Delton police are still looking into the case. They're asking the public to get in touch with them if they know anything. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help with Clarice's vet expenses. It's raised more than $1,500 so far.
Assembly Speaker Robin Vos is sponsoring a bill that would require the UW System Board of Regents to discipline hecklers at speeches and presentations on campuses statewide. Under this proposal, people would be punished for excessively interfering with others' free expression at the state's taxpayer-funded universities. The measure comes after UW-Madison students heckled a conservative media personality during an appearance on campus in November.
For the first time, a Madison public school will require its students to wear uniforms. Starting this fall, those uniforms will be a requirement at James C. Wright Middle School. The district school board approved that measure this week. Administrators argued for the change to reduce distractions for students in class. Students will be able to choose between blue, black, or white collared shirts with black or khaki pants. Well, still ahead on News 3 this morning, we can only go up from yesterday. Still wet, but a little warmer for the start of your weekend. Hattie's got a look at your full forecast coming up in just a minute.
Gonna be a nice sunrise, if nothing else. And the Bucs season comes to an end with a tough one-possession loss to the Raptors. We're gonna hear from Kevin Lewis at the Bradley Center with what's coming next for that Milwaukee franchise, coming up on News 3 this morning.